and Strikes, Dick Letts, and Mike Moore.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire for WNDS TV 50. Candlepin Stars and Strikes, it's the beginning of our Tournament of Champions. Over the course of the next 6 weeks, our 7 ladder winners will be vying for a top prize of $1,500. And Mike Morin, this is the time that everybody's been waiting for on Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
That's for sure, Dick. We've come 28 weeks to go the next 6 weeks. $3,200 in prize money will be paid out. 7 bowlers, all trying to get to number 1, $1,500, and sitting atop, of course, the ladder, waiting to take on all comers is Gary Carrington.
And our 2 bowlers here have to win 6 matches to get to that championship prize of $1,500. Let's meet our participants in our first match, our 7th seed from Revere, Massachusetts, Rich Halas.
Yes, indeed. Rich Halas coming in at a 127 average. His high single is 202. High triple is 486, and he does his bowling at Central Park Lanes in Eastie.
And Hawk won our 4th ladder series, defeating Rich Lottie in the championship match 337 to 320. And he'll be taking on Rich Clark, our 6th seed from Bedford, New Hampshire.
Bowling in a couple of different leagues. Very impressive averages of 126 and 129. His high single is 195. His high triple is 467. Does his bowling at King Lanes in Manchester and Boutwell's in Concord.
And Rich won our 5th ladder series, defeating Tom Morgan 388 to 380. It's our first match in our Tournament of Champions. Let's get right to it as Candlepin Stars and Strikes continues from Leda Lanes in Nashua on WNDS TV 50. Some of the finest bowlers in New England will be competing over the course of the next 6 weeks in our Tournament of Champions on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV 50. And Mike Morin right at the top of the ladder, Gary Carrington waiting in the wings.
And going on down from there, it's Mike Morgan sitting at number 2, Rob Burkeel at 409. Jason Leach, who was our winner last week in the 7th and final ladder, at 394. A pair of 388s, I should say, Joe Ashline and Rich Clark, because Joe Ashline had a higher single in his particular championship match. He gets the preference at number 5. Rich Clark, who you'll see in just a moment, is 388 and 6th. And Hawk Halas, about to step to the line, is at the bottom of the ladder. He's got the biggest task, he and Rich Clark, to try to get to Gary Carrington in week number 6.
This should be an exciting 6 weeks.
It's going to be great. This is what we bowl all season for.
And Hawk Halas starts it off with a half Worcester.
Things can only go up from there for you, Hawk. Toss a half Worcester there to start.
Just nudging the head pin.
But he's got some pretty good wood to take out that cluster on the left.
And 8 blocks for Halas to start out. Halas had a 337, which is not a real high triple to win his final match, but that's the way Candlepin bowling goes sometimes. Some guys will bowl a 390 in their match and lose. Halas bowled a 337, was able to win.
And we have some rather telling and revealing statistics we'll be sharing with you over the next 6 weeks about such things. That kind of gives you a little perspective on how strange and inconsistent this game can be at times.
Halas opening with half Worcesters on both lane 34 and lane 33. And 10 blocks. And here's Rich Clark from Bedford, New Hampshire, who won our 5th ladder series, defeating Tom Morgan 388 to 380. There's a case where Morgan bowled a 380 and ended up losing. Clark was southpaw.
We haven't had too many of those over the course of this 28-week season. I'm thinking 2 or 3 bowlers, maybe.
Rich is 35 years old, the farm manager for Clark Farms in Bedford, and he starts out with a 7 box.
This is a very, very busy time of the year for the folks at Bedford Farms and everybody, I suppose, in the agriculture business as all the plants begin growing and people start getting out and doing the planting.
Rich was in the 1996 Tournament of Champions. He was the 4th seed and lost his match to Don Richmond. So this is not a new experience for Rich. And the first mark of the match belongs to Rich Clark in the second frame.
We haven't really told you exactly how the prize money breaks down. But the winner today, of course, moves on next week. The runner-up takes home $100. So the money does dramatically appreciate as we get closer to the top, as it should, where $1,500 is the top prize.
And the tournament expanded to 7 participants this year. We had 7 ladder series. 28 weeks ago we began.
6 months, 2 weeks.
An 8 box for Halas, looking for his first mark. Hawk works as a courier for Federal Express. He's 45 years old.
Actually, just had a
46.
birthday. Yes, just turned 46. We had to kind of pry that information out of him as we update our records.
Here's a strike for Hawk Halas. His first mark. Watch it again. He buried it this time. Went across to Brooklyn, but got great action, and the 5-pin the last to go. Now here's Clark working on a spare. Ooh, he just missed it. Played it well, but didn't get the break. He has been bowling well since his last appearance on Channel 50. He has increased his high triple, which had been a 463. Since that time, he has registered a 467. His wife Cynthia and young daughters Lauren and Brandon are here. And there's a nice spare for Rich Clark. Second mark of the first string for Clark. Now Hawk Halas.
Time to string a few together and get all the butterflies out.
Pocket again for Hawk, and a 7-pin drop on the first ball as he works on a strike. Two marks in a row for Hawk Halas, and an opportunity for some bonus money right here. Our triple strike jackpot, by the way, has $1,150 waiting for someone to take it if they can put 3 strikes together in one string. Hawk Halas now is looking for $50 in bonus money for 3 marks in a row.
You know, we've only had one winner. That was Gary Carrington earlier this year in the triple strike jackpot. You got to know he's sitting at home saying, well, I'll be on in 6 weeks. I'm hoping that thing gets another few $100s in it so I can win it again.
Well, Hawk misses out on his chance for bonus money. 71 through 6 for Rich Hawk Halas from Revere. Bowls out of Central Park Lanes in East Boston. Clark working on a spare, puts 6 in the spare. Two spares in a row for Rich Clark. 3 marks in the last 4 boxes. And an opportunity for bonus money here.
As we mentioned, being in the farming industry, the hours are at times very long and exhausting. He told me he was up working till 10 o'clock last night, and of course up this morning to bowl, and he'll probably go back and toil along into the hour of midnight or so tonight as things get up and underway at Bedford Farms.
That's a 6 box for Rich Clark. A 2-pin lead for Hawk Halas after 6 boxes of our opening match in the Tournament of Champions on WNDS TV 50. Dick Lutz with Mike Morin. Happy to have you with us. and hope you enjoy our coverage of Candlepin bowling over the course of the season. Pins dropped on the lane 33 on the reset from Rich Clark's last box, so Hawk will reset them while he gets ready to bowl on lane 34. Grabbed the head pin and left himself a little bit of a split, but some pretty good wood makes this a possibility.
No evidence yet of the sliding dancing pins we've seen in the last couple of weeks, where pins would literally move feet away.
That's a great shot by Rich Halas for the spare right there. His third mark of the first string. Watch it again. The wood set up nicely and angled perfectly for Hawk that time.
Textbook. Just a two-pin match as we head into the 8th frame for Rich Halas.
The strike inside the spare as Hawk was warming up to the occasion here in the first string. His 4th mark of the string. Rich Clark right on the head pin.
Should correct myself. Rich is the farm manager at Clark Farms. I believe I may have called it Bedford Farms. My apologies.
Well, Clark Farms is in Bedford.
Thank you, Dick. I'm sure that's what I was thinking, but thinking not too clearly nevertheless.
So Rich Halas opening up a lead here in the first string as Rich Clark takes a 10 box. Clark tries to respond.
I do believe that wood is frozen to the 2-pin, so he should be able to hit it anywhere.
And he does. An important mark for Rich Clark as he's up against a double mark from Rich Halas. Halas working on a strike which came in the spare, and he now looks for some bonus money, which has thus far eluded our bowlers in the first string, although they have plenty of marks.
Starts his approach way over on the right side, works toward the middle. Takes an 8-fill.
Rich Halas was the 2nd seed in our 4th series. He defeated Gary Santora and Rich Lottie to advance. Bonus money right there for a Hawk with 3 marks in a row for the first time. His 5th mark of the first string. And he's working on a big number here in his first string.
That's what you want to do. Get out of the box quickly.
Threw it by the head pin.
How did that one piece of wood continue to carry him around and take only 1 down is the question. Still has the 4 horsemen on the right side and the 8-pin with some moving wood in the back.
He's at 133. 134 for Rich Halas in the first string. Rich Clark was the top seed in our 5th series, and in his only match he defeated Tom Morgan to win the championship. And 2 marks in a row for Rich Clark as he responds to Halas. Watch it again. This was right in the pocket.
The 5-pin a little reluctant, but it went.
Here's Halas right in the pocket again, looking for some bonus money here.
Had a chance to win this match with a mark here and a decent fill.
That's some bonus money for Rich Clark. He's at 129 with a ball. So 5 to tie, 6 to take the lead. right through the middle.
Oh, no.
A 2-pin fill.
Oh, geez.
A 131 string for Rich Clark. A 3-pin lead for Hawk Halas as we go to our second string in our Tournament of Champions opening match, as Candlepin Stars and Strikes continues from Leda Lanes in Nashua on WNDS TV 50. Rich Clark will start out our second string. He trails Hawk Halas by 3 pins after our first string here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire in our Tournament of Champions on WNDS TV 50's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Clark right on the head pin. He was right on the head pin trying to fill that mark at the end of the first string, but he right through for 2. So instead of the lead, he trails by 3. Lots of wood and a spare to start out the second string for Rich Clark.
You ready to try a little Candlepin Stars and Strikes trivia in a couple of minutes, Dick?
Sure. Make a fool out of me. Go ahead. Two marks in a row for Rich Clark to start out the second string. Keep in mind, $1,150 for 3 consecutive strikes. Watch it again. Halas had 2 strikes in the first string. Clark had 1. Here's Halas starting out the second string with a 9-pin drop. So both bowlers are on the head pin.
Good to see the scoring is starting out at a reasonably high level. Butterflies have all been put aside, and now the competitive juices take over, because you've got 6 weeks of bowling here, and these guys are really going to be exhausted if one of these two does make it all the way to the top against Gary Carrington.
One of these guys to win it all has to win 6 matches. That's and Gary Carrington to win it all has to win 1 match. That's the benefit of being the top seed.
And speaking of seedings, that will be our first question.
Okay.
Over the next 6 weeks, compiled lots of interesting tidbits of information about the show for the past 28 weeks, the regular season. And there is one seed position, Dick, that has never actually won a ladder.
$9 for Hawk Halas.
We'll let you think about it. Let the folks at home think about it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of the seed positions has never actually gone on to win a ladder series.
I'm trying to I think it's 5. I don't think there has been a 5 that's gone all the way to the top, if I'm not mistaken.
That's your guess? We'll give you the answer here in a couple of minutes.
I'm trying to remember now if there's anybody that's gone all the way from the bottom to the top. I could look it up. I have the information right here, but I haven't done that.
But you won't do that.
I won't do that now until you give us the answer after our fourth frame break. Oh, he picked a pin looking for $50. That's a $50 7-pin that was still standing there. Rich Clark really gives it the body English. Both of our bowlers are big into body English. We'll have to ISO on them and show you the body English that they put into their shot. Great try by Clark as he tried to slide that pin over to take out.
Kind of gave it a karate chop there. Little martial arts action.
$10 for Rich. 59 through 4. Now Hawk Halas. Hawk is married to Linda. His children, Colby 13 and Courtney 9. I believe they are here. The kids. The 7-10 with a bunch of wood on the deck.
Looks like we're going to lose some of it.
Yeah. Watch out for that 7-pin, the 10-pin rather. Not enough momentum on that rolling wood to take the 10-pin out.
We could
Now the
probably,
wood moves back into the middle.
you know, we could almost take a commercial break here and come right back, and the pins would finally be settled down.
And Hawk's waiting for that pin to finish up rolling as it comes back and forth in the middle of the deck.
I'm a little concerned about the 7-pin. I can see the 10 going easily. Yeah.
Right on. It's still standing. Michael had that one nailed. 10 bucks for a Hawk, who now finds himself trailing in the match. But he's up against an open frame here, and he can pull back into a tie if he can mark. In the pocket nicely, but the split remains. Well, we'll find out what the answer to our trivia question is when we come back from the break in just a moment.
Which seed position has never gone on to win a ladder championship?
A 9 box for the Hawk and a 45. So we'll take a break with an 11-pin lead for Rich Clark as we near the halfway point of this first match in our Tournament of Champions on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV 50. An 11-pin lead for Rich Clark as we're ready to go in the second string, 5th box. 59 through 4 for Clark in the second string. He had a 131 to Hawk Halas 134 in the opening string. What's the only seed not to have won a ladder series? Is Rich Clark.
Your guess.
Third mark of the string. My guess is number 5. I'm trying to think of a number 5 that's gone all the way to win, and I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Mike Morgan did that.
He did go all the way from 5 to 1.
He was the only 5 seed that did that.
Boy, Clark again on a spare. This time, the spread eagle.
The number 1 seed has had the most winners, Dick, 3 times, and that makes sense. The number 2 seed has had 1 winner. The number 3 seed has had 2 winners. So your answer, the number 4 seed has never gone on to win a ladder championship.
'83 through 6. Jay Leach is our number 4 seed, by the way, in the Tournament of Champions.
Whoops. Pay no attention to that statistic, Jay. Statistics are made to be lied about, so don't worry about it.
Now Hawk Halas. 4 horsemen left side. A wobbling 1-pin.
I'll tell you a little bit about the fact that I have no life, that I have time to sit around and come up with these things. And we have lots more over the next several weeks. Kind of a capsulization of the past season in number form. Kind of fun to look at things that way sometimes.
9 box for Hawk. Just a number that jumps out at me, and I don't know the answer to the question. I'll look it up in a minute. Maybe you already know the answer to this question. It's one that maybe we could just leave out there. What's the highest triple that lost?
I don't know that.
We can certainly look it up over the course of the next few moments. Halas right in the pocket. I remember Atkins, I think, had a 390 something one time and lost. I have to look up to see what the highest number would be.
We can do that during the commercial break.
Using the wood for the mark. He took it the unconventional way. With his right-handed spin shot, he stayed away from going into the right-hand corner and used the wood in the middle of the lane to take out the 10-pin. Now Clark, he's right on the head pin, but several times he's been too full on the head pin. Didn't like that one right away. Walked right away from it as soon as he let it go. That's a 6 box for Rich Clark, and an 89 now through 7. So Hawk Halas, who had the lead after 1, fell behind early in the second string. Now working on a mark, has a chance to get the lead back again.
I think Rich Clark just wanted to do anything but hit the head pin squarely that time, because it's really cost him the last 2 shots with punch outs.
He's pretty good wood set up here. But the 10 pin still stands. .99 through 8 for Rich Clark. Now Hawk Halas working on a spare.
Marks have been a little more difficult to come by in this match after a couple of 130-plus games for our bowlers to start. It might be a little tough at the rate they're going for this game.
Halas puts 8 in the spare, but leaves the bedposts.
And not much help, really. Rolling wood still not settling down. Kind of rocking between the 7 and 8 pin position.
Gave it a run. Nine box. 81. So comparing box to box, he's down 8 pins in the string, which means that Clark would have a 5-pin lead in the match. Clark had an open frame in the 8th. Missing the head pin and leaving 4. Oh, he just missed it.
Reminiscent of Rich Clark's last spare attempt. Fairly similar setup of pins when the 10 stayed after what appeared to be a perfect attempt.
Well, Hawk in the gutter that time for a 9 box and a 90. A 6-pin lead for Rich Clark with 2 boxes to go in the second string. A second pocket hit that time, leaving 4 pins standing for Rich Clark. In the 5th ladder series, again he misses the spare, which Clark was the winner and the top seed. That ladder series had Sean McKinley, Rich Hallberg. McKinley beat Hallberg in the first match. Then Tom Morgan beat McKinley in the second match. Then Morgan beat Bob Betancourt in the third match, setting up the championship, which Clark defeated Morgan 388 to 380. That was our 5th ladder series. Here's Clark with a 9-pin drop. Hawk Halas was in the 4th series. He was the 2nd seed. Rich misses the spare. He'd like to have that one back. $119 for Rich Clark in the second string, a 2-string total for Rich of 250. In the 4th ladder series, which was eventually won by Hawk Halas, first match, Gary Santora down Bill Treeful. Then Santora defeating Jeff Atkins. Then it was Santora running up against the 2nd seed Halas. Halas was the winner of that match, 385 to 358. And Halas defeated Rich Lottie in the championship match, a low-scoring championship match, 337 to 320.
So that's how these guys got here, huh?
That's the road they took. There's Hawk Halas getting the mark in the 9th frame.
A great chance now to make some hay as Rich Clark went 5 unanswered, 5 frames without a mark here at the end of his game.
Halas using the angled deadwood that time to his advantage. Well, this should be a very tight match going into the 3rd string. Halas leaves himself a split, picks up 6 on the spare. Box to box, we're dead even right now.
Oh,
look at this spare for Hawk Halas. So Hawk will take the lead into the 3rd string, in all likelihood. Since we're dead even, he'll have a ball. There's the spare. They ganged up on the 10-pin in the corner there. Took 3 pieces of wood to knock it down, but ultimately it got there. This is what Hawk will lead by, 8. An 8-pin lead for Hawk Halas as we go to the 3rd and final game of our first match in the Tournament of Champions on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV 50. We'll be back in a moment. We would love to hear from you over the course of the next several weeks. If you are inclined to jot us a note, there's your address, Candlepin Stars and Strikes, WNDS TV 50, 50 Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire, 03038. WNDS TV is in over 1.5 million homes in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, and we'd love to know where you are watching our program, Candlepin Stars and Strikes. So jot us a note, WNDS TV 50, 50 Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire, 03038. Hawk Halas will be first to bowl in the 3rd and final string of our opening match, and the Hawk has an 8-pin lead over Rich Clark. 258 to 250. Talk about a close match. Both bowlers have 9 marks, 7 spares, and 2 strikes apiece. Hawk just missed the head pin.
Hawk Halas took a 3-pin lead into the 2nd game, then kind of fell behind for most of the match, and then finished strong and recaptured the lead and even added to it another 5 pins. So now he's up by 8, as Dick mentioned.
And a 9-pin drop in the first box of the 3rd string. I want to thank our TV 50 crew working at Leda Lanes, making it all possible. Our director, Larry Taylor, filling in for Vic Cross. Our audio is being handled by Matt Woodson. The tape machines manned by Dave McCarthy. In graphics, it's Ivo Carmely. On video, Paul Hunter. The cameramen, Steve Giordani, Bob Dold, and Gary Van Nortwick, working here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, making it all possible for you to watch Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV 50. (19-2) for a Hawk. Now Rich Clark, who trails by 8 going into the 3rd string.
I think you did come up with the answer to your own question of last game. What is the highest triple to actually lose in a match?
It was 392 by Jeff Atkins, and I looked it up after I thought of it because I hadn't looked it up previously. I wasn't cheating on myself, and I remember the conversation I had with Atkins at the time, and it was early in our series, and that's what stood out with me. I remember Atkins bowling a 392 and losing, and he lost to a 412 that was tossed by Tom Morgan. That was back in our 2nd ladder series, the 3rd match of that series. Thinking to myself what it must be like to bowl a 392 and lose.
Well, I've never bowled a 392, so
Nor
I can't
have
even
I.
tell you. I've been close, but not quite.
Rich Clark tries to get back even in the match, and he does that right off the bat. Looking for a double mark here, has some pretty good wood set up. With his left-handed angle, he picks up the spare.
Took a little extra time, lined it up.
2 marks in a row to start out the 3rd string, and the lead now belongs to Rich Clark. Just like that, it shifts. Hawk Halas in the third box has seen his 8-pin lead dissipate. But he wants it back. His third strike of the match. Watch it again. Crossing over to the Brooklyn side. The 5 and the 8, the last to go. 5 and the 9, I should say. On the spare, he only gets 2. Check it, he's working on a strike, so he'll have another ball. Well, he ends up with 5 on the strike. That's a good out to get the 9 for the Hawk, and 43 through 4. Now Rich Clark working on a 10 and a spare.
Little score correction from earlier. We had given Rich Clark a spare in the first, which was not correct.
And only a 2 inside the spare. He has had some very poor fills on some marks in this match. 2 on the mark at the end of the first string. A 4 on a spare in the second string.
And not a lot of fun with this one. Still 5 pins. 30 through 3 for Rich Clark.
That was a 7 box for Clark in the third, so a 29 actually. Punching through.
Guess I'll be going to see that optometrist a little sooner than I thought.
I have to learn not to look over at your score sheet.
Yeah, don't look what I'm doing here. Keep an eye on Chris.
9 box. 38. Halas has the lead as we go to the break in the final string of the Tournament of Champions opening match on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV 50. A 13-pin lead for Hawk Halas as we have 6 boxes remaining in this match between Halas and Rich Clark. It's the first match of the Tournament of Champions on WNDS TV 50. The winner of this match climbs the ladder a notch and will take on Joe Ashline next week. Halas right through the pocket, taking 5 and leaving 5. I want to talk to you about the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge in just a moment, right after the Hawk finishes this box. We had the match a little bit closer earlier on because of an incorrect scoring. 8 pins for Hawk, 51.5. The Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge is right next door to Leda Lanes in Nashua on Amherst Street, Route 101A. If you know where Leda Lanes is, you will know where the Kahala is. It's right next door. It's where we go every time we come for our Candlepin Stars and Strikes broadcasts. And we'll be headed there a little later on today. The pins continue to fall for Hawk Halas. The Kahala has a wonderful luncheon buffet, which we really enjoy. They have terrific takeout. Hawk missed the spare opportunity. A banquet facility, entertainment on the weekends, and of course, delivery in the Nashua area. A 9 box for Hawk Halas, 60 through 6. So the next time you are at Leda Lanes or in the area, make sure you stop by the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge. The phone number is 603-889-5200. 603-889-5200. Stop by and say hi to Andy, Mona, or Sandy at the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge, right next door to Leda Lanes, Route 101A in Nashua. If you're coming from the south, it's exit 7W off the Everett Turnpike. If you're coming from the Manchester area, take exit 8, and you will find the Kahala Chinese Restaurant and Lounge. Door is open for Rich Clark here. He's up against a couple of open frames. And there's a spare for Rich.
I was about to say the bowling's been a little bit uninspired this game, considering the fact that we're into the home stretch here.
Rich put it on the head pin that time and then took his chances and got the action off the side wall. Now he looks to make it closer.
Fell the wrong way. If that wood stays where it is. Yeah,
Rich is trying to direct
traffic directing it.
Well, I think he's got to play the wood. If the wood stays on the deck, he's got to just give it a shot and try to slide that wood over.
And with having 2 pieces of wood, you have that much more weight going into the 9-pin, giving it more energy to take out the 10-pin as well.
He's going to just shoot for that 7-pin, which isn't even standing. There it is. 2 marks in a row for Rich Clark. Now the match is virtually even. And actually the edge goes to Clark. He trails by 2, but he has a ball. Halas tries to respond. He has some pretty good wood out there, Michael. That wood looks like it makes it possible. The wood in the back, I'm not sure if it's up front enough to help him out. It is.
It was, yeah. He's really going to be kicking himself for that 6-frame single pin spare miss that he had, because that would have given him the lead still, but now he's coming from behind as Rich Clark strings 2 spares back to back.
Halas working on a spare. Grabs the head pin. Makeable shot here. Not easy, but makeable. Didn't quite get it.
$100 to our runner-up today. And our winner goes on to face Joe Ashline, Leda Lane's bowler, next week.
87-8 for Halas. He came into the string with an 8-pin lead. Now, depending on what Clark does on this first ball, that'll tell you where things stand. Well, he only got a 5. Box to box, a 3-pin lead for Clark, but he's up against a spare now. Didn't get it. The lead goes back to Halas.
Again, Rich Clark continues with somewhat poor fills. As you see, a 2, an 8, and a 5 on his 3 spares for this game. Losing a lot of extra pinfall opportunities.
Box to box, Clark has picked up 4 of the pins he was trailing. He still trails by 4. Right through the head pin. Gave it a shot, and for a moment you saw that wood rolling across. You thought it might grab it, but it rolled behind it, and the 2-pin still stands. 9 bucks. A 5-pin lead for Halas with 2 boxes to go in the match.
Again, not a really high-scoring match, but exciting down to the wire, with 5 pins separating our 2 bowlers. And 2 frames to go to see who advances to week number 2 of the Tournament of Champions, a 6-week tournament series, over $3,000 Dick and prize money.
What a spare for Halas.
That was a clutch shot.
Really putting the pressure now on Rich Clark. Now the fill is very important. That was perfectly thrown by Hawk.
And with a good fill, forcing Rich Clark to mark twice.
That's the key.
1, 2, and the 4. Not a difficult spare, but you do have to hit the head pin either on the right side or between the 1 and the 2.
Clutch spare for Halas. 114 plus a ball, 372 he has already. A 32 pin margin. And that one will go. A 9-pin fill on the spare, and a 123 third string for Halas. A 381 triple, 41 pins for Rich Clark to make up. He needs a strike. He needs a couple of them. And won't get it there.
Disappointing finish for Rich Clark, who was off to a good start at 131 first match. Best he can do is 384 if he would have put a triple strike up there. Of course, he did that, we'd give him $1,150 too.
And we'll watch his first ball here before we go to the break. It'll be Halas advancing. And the triple strike jackpot will continue. We'll come back to meet our bowlers at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, as Candlepin Stars and Strikes continues on WNDS TV 50. Halas defeats Rich Clark. The final score 381 to 356. Rich Clark is standing with me. A check for $100 to you. And we were talking before we came back about the difference in the match, the first half of the match and the second half of the match, from finding the head pin to not finding the head pin.
Yeah, it was a combination. I fell sharp the first string and a half, and the second string and a half, you know, I had 3 or 4 cut shots hitting the head pin on the first ball. I didn't get one of those. Get one of those, I loosen up a little bit, and who knows. But, you know, Rich hit the shots when he had to, and I didn't.
Congratulations to you for making the Tournament of Champions. See you again. Rich Clark from Bedford, New Hampshire, our runner-up. Now Halas will throw a bonus ball, and we'll try to match him up with a winner. Off the head pin for the Hawk. Let's see if we can find a deuce out of there, Mike Morin. Mike reaches
Not likely.
to the stack and comes out. Oh, you were close.
Almost.
You were close. This is, let's see if I can find a name on there. I see
Mary
a name,
Val,
but I'm
that?
looking for the address.
Stoneham.
From Stoneham. Mary Val from Stoneham. She guessed 3, and so she's not close, but not quite. And
I guess
almost
she knew.
had a winner. So she'll win a set of mugs from N&R Trophies of Winchendon, Massachusetts. And now it's Miss Frida Downs of Rochester, who will win 10 strings of bowling from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. We're joined by Halas, moving a little tighter to me here. You picked up some clutch spares at the end when they really counted.
Yeah, I needed it. Yeah, I started off real bad. A couple of punches. I don't know. I might have been more excited than anything. And then I finally got in the groove a little bit. I got a couple of marks on the end where I needed it. It was a good match. Richie had a couple of tough breaks. Some shots he hit didn't go, but, you know, that's part of the game.
Well, congratulations to you. We'll look forward to seeing you next week as the Tournament of Champions continues. That's Halas, our winner here this afternoon. Both bowlers won $50 in bonus money, and now Halas climbs the ladder.
He does. Next week, a very tough bowler. He's been on TV 50 over 70 times. You know him, you love him, and you'll see him next week, Joe Ashline.
We'll look forward to seeing you two as well as the Tournament of Champions moves into week number 2 for Mike Morin and our entire WNDS TV 50 crew. I'm Dick Lutzke at Leda Lanes in Nashua. So long, everybody. We'll see you next time.